was October last year. It was a Friday late afternoon, and I was in the office. But I was not at my desk. I was not finishing up the last thing, before you go to the weekend. I was in the bathroom, and I was crying. And I couldn't stop crying, for real. And I started to think, how did the hell I ended up here? I just had one meeting. I won't say like one of many meetings, where we were circling around, like didn't come to any conclusion. I had this person that I couldn't really talk with. And I was feeling that as CPO of that company, I was not doing my job. My job is to make us take decision and moving forward. And I wasn't doing it. And I was there in the bathroom crying, commiserating myself. And I must say, it took me quite a while to put myself together and then carefully watching if there was someone there that didn't see me like in that state and step out. And when I did, I started to think about what just happened because, you don't want to end up in a bathroom crying. And when I did that, I realized there was something else, something different. And hopefully, you've never been in that bathroom crying like me, but I want to see if you ever experienced something like this. And please raise your hand if you ever felt like after a meeting or a discussion, you were really feeling frustrated because you couldn't get, oh my God, already, yeah, exactly. I was I want to bang my head here because we're not going anywhere. Or your voice felt like it's not heard. I'm talking, yeah, talking words from my mouth, but yeah. Or even better, my favorite, I'm feeling stuck. Whatever stuck means. I've seen quite many raised hands. And this talk is for you. And I cannot promise that I'm going to have a silver bullet, then you're not going to ever be frustrated. I really wish I did. It's almost like having world peace. But I don't. But I have something to help you navigate to that frustration. And in my experience, the cause of this is a clash in values. And what is personal values? Let's start there. A personal value is something that I believe is really important, that I value really high. For example, for me, is collaboration. I believe that, working with team, working with people, that's one of my values. And if on the other side of the screen or of the table, I have a person that feels like is my hay or the highway, we're not gonna connect, we're gonna clash. The problem with personal values is that really rarely they present like these two birds fighting, because these two birds, they're fighting, you see that they're fighting, but personal values, when they clash, you mainly see that you're frustrated, you might have those Sunday blues that Diana was talking about, you have like something that is not quite right. And that is the problem, that we do not take a lot of time identifying them. But if we do, we can gain quite a lot from it. So that is what my talk is about. And it's not only about frustration, you can do much more with values. It's not only about not getting frustrated. But if you know your value, you do know your impact. You can use them to define your career. You can better collaborate with others, and you can finally be happier. And the thing that you're going to hear me say this a couple of times in this talk, I truly believe that the hard skills in product are the soft skills. And this is no AI is going to take talking with people or being good at stakeholders management. But if you work with values, you can be that person and you can differentiate yourself. So this is what we're going to talk about. How you can identify your values and how you can apply your values. And this that I'm going to share, I'm not a scientist, but I'm a person that have done this journey herself. So this is based on what I've experienced, what I've tried. And I want to start with naming the elephant in the room here. Values, fluffy, right? You're like, what? Is vision fluffy? What is this? And I must say that when I started this journey, there was one person asking me, what are your values? And I'm like, what do you think was my answer? I was like, I have no value, I don't know, zero, like, I have no idea, black hole. Obviously, that's not the truth. We all have our values, but I mean, we don't spend a lot of time thinking about them. And the good news, I have one good news for you, is that I discovered that I could use my product skills to find my values. So they don't have to be so fluffy. So you can start with data, you can identify insights, and you can come to a vision. So let's see how I did it, and maybe, hopefully, I give you some inspiration on starting to work with your own values. And with any product, you always start from, you don't start anywhere. No one is answering. What is the first thing that you do when you look at a product? Data. And this, I'm going to go all hippie on you, because that's what my coach did with me. And she was like, you have to start following your energy. And I was like, yeah, sure. But then I was like, yeah, she's a coach. I trust her. She knows better. Trust the process. So what I started to do is what is called energy audits. And an energy audit in itself is quite easy. It's a table. And you put there the time of the day, you put there what you're doing, you put them with whom you're doing, you put the topic, and then you put like anything you have about your energy. And by the book, you should do this quite often. I mean, there are people that say after every single meeting, or after every hour, or every day. And nobody has time for that. I didn't do that either. But what I did is that I did it on my highs and on my lows. And what that did is started to give me some data points. So for in this case, you see some examples there. Maybe it was not the morning that was the main thing, but it was like some people or some topics where my energy like fluctuated on the wrong direction, so to speak. So with data, I start to get some hypotheses. Okay, here I have something that I could navigate with. So as in product, data, hypothesis, next thing is talk to the users. And in this case, the user is yourself. So it's awesome, because your user is always going to talk with you, right? Or if you're good at it, sometimes I didn't want to talk with myself. And this one, I'm kind of, if I may say it, I'm proud, because I kind of came up with this idea. I mean, it's not rocket science. But after working with coaches, reading a lot of books, I started to do story mapping. And you're probably, who's familiar with story mapping here, user story mapping? A lot of people. So that is basically when you take a user and you put into context when he or she is using your product, what problems are they solving, etc. So I did it for myself. This is my Miro board. You see me. This is really small, because, yeah, there's a lot of really, really personal things in there, so sorry, I'm not going to share that. But I'm going to tell you how I did it. The first thing is my lifeline. So I put there, like, during my life, like, from when I was a kid, like, what happened. Like, for me, it was, like, at a certain point, at 17, I moved and lived in Brazil 6 months. And then I moved to Sweden in 2011. And then I went into fashion, like, all these things. And then there was also some lows. And some lows were, like, when I moved to Sweden and I couldn't find the job that I wanted. Or like when my grandma passed. I mean, these kind of things. And you see that in the experience slides, you have like ups and downs. And this, when you start doing this, you start identifying some insights. And insights for me look something like this. I was given different opportunities in my life. And what I realized, because I mean, I looked at what I've done, is like, I'm really good at capitalizing them. I'm good. That's it. I mean, it's also like you can have some confidence because you've done it before. But sometimes when I'm like this, like peak down, is like when I feel stuck, when I feel really miserable. So that gave me another insight that is about my superpowers or what I'm good at. And in my case is adaptability. I'm awesome at connecting people and things, and if you throw me in a new context, I'm going to be amazing. But sometimes I adapt so much that I get stuck in it. So my superpower becomes my kryptonite. Also a tip, if you're brave enough, I ask people to tell me what are the good things with me and what are the bad things with me, and they help me identify my superpowers. So now you know where your energy comes from. You know from your own stories, like what you're good at. Now comes the really hard part. And if you were in Radika workshop yesterday, you know that visioning and putting a vision is the most difficult part. I mean, it's really difficult. So here is where I ask most for help. Another one of my value, ask for help. You don't have to have everything figured out yourself. So I put down in a journal all the things that I wanted. And there were like highs and lows and left and right and ups and downs. And then I asked a coach to help me. And what we identified were like behaviors that I wanted. And then we had ended up with 4 nice values that you see there written in red in my notebook. And you're probably there, like, thinking, okay, you said that you could help us with frustration and all these things, but we've done all this exercise, so what? This is what you've done without realizing. You have a compass, because you know what gives you energy, you know what you're good at, and the best thing is you know what you're good at because you've done it before, because you have that like discerning mapping of your story, and then you know where you're going. So now you have everything you need to put those into action. And I'm going to give you 2 examples on how you can do it. The first one, it's about collaboration. And I have some really strong opinions, and this is one of those. Product management is collaboration. Point. To me, the old CEO of the product, you're going to do the... Sorry, my French, bullshit. Your role is not to make decision. Your role is to facilitate people to bring in competencies so you can make a decision. Sometimes you are the one making a decision, sometimes you're not. But to be there, you need to collaborate with people. The better you are at product is the better you are at working with people. And if you've done this work with values, you know how important it is that you find the right radio frequency, right? So in collaboration, you end up in 2 different scenarios. Let's start with the good one. The good one is when you have the same values. So you're both thinking and collaboration is great, you have like the same alignment, what we heard in the beginning, like this morning about alignment between sales and product. There you can really amplify each other. There you have your growth. Or you can end up like me crying in the bathroom without realizing that I was crying in the bathroom because what was the thing there? I was trying to optimize for the company. I was driving the we, I was driving the long term, I was driving the vision, and the other person only wanted what was good for his team. And I mean, I felt really personal. I felt like it's me and him, and I was blaming him, or I was blaming myself. But if I could go back in time, what I would see is that we can talk about the clashing values. So it doesn't have to be personal. We can make it professional. And talking, making that explicit, we can also take a step forward. Because we can decide what are we optimizing for the long term or the short term. That is like much easier than saying, oh, Francesca against the person, which felt really much like so at that point. So really value can help you with collaborating and collaborating better, or where you cannot collaborate better, you can at least make it explicit and doesn't make it personal, which makes all the difference. Other user cases. So in your career, you've done all this work. You know how you create your best impact, because you know where energy is. You also know the impact that you have created in your life. You know what you want to achieve, and you know where you want to go. So you can apply this interviewing, right? I mean, from me, there is like no point of trying to adapt yourself to a company, because I mean, yeah, you might get the job, maybe it can be short term as like the whole economic part, but I mean, you're not going to be in for the long run if you have a clash in values. So you can, as much as you ask what are the company value, you can double check them against your own values. You can also, this I want to spend a second about, career. What does next career step means? It's so much about linear, you know, I'm an individual contributor, and then I need to be senior, and then I need to be VP, and then I need to be CPO, and then I need to do this. Do you? I mean, if what you value, what gives you energy is like working with the product, where do you want to become a CEO where your job is like working with people? You know, it's like if you know what you value and what is important to you, that will also help you and take a little bit away the burden on your shoulder. Because, I mean, there's no linearity here. Never been. Another thing, and I know I battle with this every day, it's about imposter syndrome. Like, we always feel like we read on LinkedIn or we look people talking on stage and they're like, I'm not that good, that's never enough, this person does it better, whatever. But I mean, you can go back at the journey mapping and you can see all the things that you have done. So you can feel the confidence in that every time that you doubt yourself. And last but not least, you can be the best possible team player that there is out there. And you've learned about how you can use those product skills for differentiating yourself. And you might be wondering what happened with me 1 year later that I was in that bathroom crying. Now I can see a bridge there in front of me. I work a lot with my value. I define them. And what I decided to do is to step down from my CPO position of one of the biggest tech companies in Sweden. I know you might feel like, okay, this is a crazy move in this environment. But I think that to me, to value my values, like to have connection, to make actually my life better, my energy better, that was not the right position anymore. So I started my own company doing advisory, and I did it like 1.5 months ago, so it's really fresh to me. And I am not advocating for any of you to do any kind of move like this. You only know like what is good for you. But I'm advocating for all of you to think about your value, because they can be your true differentiator. Why? If you are that person that is amazing at stakeholder management, that is the person that always finds way forward, or if you are the person that brings the energy in the room, I mean, you're going to be given those like hard assignments. You're going to be given like those opportunities. And especially, I mean, again, the hard skills here are the soft ones. So future-proof yourself. No AI will be able to do this for you. So take the time to ground yourself in your values, and you're really going to see an impact. And I want to thank you so much. This talk to me was really special. It's the first time that I stand on a stage representing myself. I was super nervous. I am super happy there were like some people in my corner saying, okay, ground yourself, is going to be good. But and I want to thank you like for participating and for listening to my story. You can see the QR code there. You can either tag along with me in my journey. There's the Productized slides in there as well, if you want. And I did a really silly thing here. So the first thing that I did when I opened my company, as every normal entrepreneur, I did a bunch of stickers, because why not? Like 0 client, but I have stickers. And in those stickers, there's like my values, and they are my amulet for today. So I'm going to be, after this session, upstairs with my stickers, if you want them, or like if you can talk with me. Thank you.